Guess you didn't know this was also going to be an AARP meeting? I retired after working 35 years at Social Security, but they think I'm still in the bathroom. At my job, I interviewed a woman who told me she worked at a Whole Foods. I said, I used to go to the one on House Street. I love their bread pudding. She said, I made their bread pudding. I said, why'd they stop selling it? She said, not enough people buying it. That's a true story. There's no punchline, but that's the most exciting thing that happened to me in 35 years at work. I couldn't decide when to retire, so I asked my boss. He said, today works for me. When I handed in my papers, I cried. I had always hoped to stay long enough to see my boss dragged out in handcuffs. I was so embarrassed for crying that I ran to the bathroom, and the boss came in after me and said, you can stay as long as you want. We like you. I said, that's so nice because I'm having second thoughts about retiring. He said, no, I mean, you can stay as long as you want in the bathroom. My kids are worried that now that I'm retired, I'm going to get out of shape, and they said I have to walk at least 10,000 steps a day. But how many times can you go from the couch to the bathroom? 241. I said to my wife, why don't you retire too? We can spend all day watching TV, being on Facebook, looking up what diseases we might have on WebMD. She said, I'm doing that at work. We have a bird at home. He's like a little parrot. And when we're home, we let him fly all around the apartment. And one day, my wife was getting up off the couch, she accidentally stepped on him. Yeah, flattened him out like a pancake, he couldn't fly. He was okay, but he couldn't fly. She had no idea he was trying to make his 10,000 steps that day. So we brought him to the animal hospital, and they said we'd have to leave him overnight. They want to do tests. They want to make sure he doesn't have brain damage. I said, how can you tell if a bird has brain damage? You ask him who the president is? You know, so you know, I wanted to do right by him, so I got him a private cage in a private room, a telephone, a TV. he likes Lassie, Animal Planet, and The Price is Right. And they made him sign a medical release form, you know, so I think he discussed his case with me. Now this was expensive, so I had to leave my wife as a deposit. So the next day I get a call and they said, you know, you can pick up your bird. He's doing better. So I get there, I go to the receptionist, I say, I'm here to pick up my bird. She said, do you have a woodpecker? I said, no, I do okay with what I have. Thanks for asking. So she brought me to the vet, and the vet said he doesn't have any broken bones or any brain damage. I said, how do you know? She said, he answered all our questions. We asked him, who brought you here? He said, Bigfoot, meaning my wife with the Bigfoot. We asked him, how did the universe start? He said, Big Bang. We asked him, who's your favorite Sesame Street character? He said, Elmo. You're supposed to say Big Bird. I guess a little brain damage is okay. And we have the latest CAT scan here. And when Dr. Smith brought in his latest cat and Charlie flew, we knew he didn't have any broken bones. So they gave me the bird, and then they gave me Charlie. He's the bird, the bird's name. So I picked up my wife, and on the way out I got like a yellow reflective vest for when he walks around the apartment at night. You know? and also now when he walks around the apartment, he says, I'm walking here, I'm walking here. I think he saw Midnight Cowboy on TV that night. Anyway, so, you know, little by little he starts flying again and everything, things go back to normal. And I was feeling, you know, I'm the better parent. I would never have stepped on him. And a month later I sat on him. Oh. Flattened him out like a pancake again. He couldn't fly, but I didn't want to bring him back to the animal hospital. My wife didn't want to spend another night there. And I figured I could do what they do. So, you know, I asked him some questions. I said, what's your favorite vegetable? He said, bird's eye. I said, who's the President of the United States? Joe Biden. What's your mother's maiden name? Lady Bird Johnson. Not bad. But I could tell something was wrong, because whenever we had pancakes, he would be shaking. It looked like he had PTSD, paratraumatic squashing disorder. So I found a support group, and it was called Birds of a Plucked Feather. And it was very interesting. There was like a depressed pigeon who was an empty nester. Right? You never see baby pigeons. There was a paranoid owl who kept going, where? And there was a toucan who couldn't. So they also showed us how to, make the apartments safer and stuff like that. And on some windows we have pictures of pancakes. On other windows we have pictures of my wife's big foot. And on other windows we have pictures of my big fat ass. I have an old friend, and she was in the hospital, and she wanted me to come pick her up. And it was Montefiore Hospital. I live in Manhattan, so I looked up at Google where it was. They had like 3 addresses, so I went to the top one and everything. And I get off the train, and I don't know where to go. I'm not good with Google Maps. And there were 2 women there, and I said, help me find Montefiore Hospital. They Googled it, and they said it's a few blocks away. They said, we'll walk you there. So that was very nice. And I figured I'm a comic, so I'm telling them jokes and everything on the way. They politely laughed. I don't know if it was because they didn't know English or because they did know English. So, they bring me there. It says Montefiore Hospital Laundry. But I figured this is the back entrance and everything. So I put my hand in my pocket, take out my wallet. They said, no, it's not necessary. I said, I wasn't going to give you money. Here's my card. I'm on YouTube. So I go in there, and I said, I'm here for Ida Sherman. And they said, do you have a ticket? And I said, no, I don't have a ticket. And they said, well, how do we know, you're here for the right person? I said, well, I'm a relative. They said, we're going to have to, if you don't have a ticket, we have to ask you some questions. What color? I said, I don't think you can ask that question. He said, I got to know, I said, white. He said, okay. When did she come in? I said, Tuesday. Well, he said, if it's Tuesday, she'll be ready Thursday. I said, but he said, but if she came before 11, she'll be ready today. I said, I think she came before 11. She called me to pick her up. He said, was there any shortening involved? I said, no, she wants her life extended, lengthened, not shortened. And anyway, she shrunk over the years, so she's not, she wasn't going to be shortened. He said, any stains? I said, on her teeth, the few she has. Any spot removal? I said, not at her age. No, she doesn't care anymore. Was it Sanforized? I said, well, she likes Sanford and Son. I don't know about Sanforized. What about Martinized? I said, maybe, but her husband is named Saul. He said French. I said, no, Polish. He said cuffs. I said, no, not even an ankle monitor. He said pressed. No, I'm not pressed for time. It's okay. He said buttons. I said belly and I think an Audi. He said starch. I said no, she has celiac disease. He said, do you want it boxed? I said, no, I hope not. He said, cash or charge? I said, Medicare. I said, I think I'm in the wrong place. I think this is really the laundry, not the part of the hospital I'm supposed to be in. And then he presses a button, and this carousel comes around. All of a sudden, she's hanging from a hanger. Takes her off, and I walk down with her and everything. And on the way, there was like a tip jar and everything, so I put my hand in my pocket, pull out my wallet, and he said, no, that's not necessary. He said, it's okay, it's my card, I'm on YouTube. I have a friend who lives in Canada, like Orly came from Canada, and she's not Jewish, I'm Jewish, and she said she's thinking of converting to Judaism, and I said, why would you do that? She said, I love Seinfeld. I said, that's not real. She said, I don't care. So she and a friend came to New York, and I wanted to show them a New York Jewish experience. I took them to one of my favorite restaurants, Ben's Kosher Deli, and she gets there and she says, this menu's bigger than the Bible. And the waiter said, here will be the Old Testament. And I said to her, this menu is our Bible. So she said to the waiter, what do you recommend? He said, matzo ball soup and a pastrami sandwich. She said, what's a matzo ball? And he said, it's a dumpling made out of matzah. She said, what's matzah? He said, well, thousands of years ago, the Jews were slaves in Egypt, and when they came out, they didn't have time to make challah, bakor, everything bagels. All they had time for was matzah, and matzah is basically cardboard with less taste. And if you, God forbid, have COVID and lose your sense of taste, it wouldn't matter if you're eating matzah. And she said, what's pastrami? He said, well, where are you from? She said, Canada. He said, well, it's like your Canadian bacon, but kosher. She said, what's kosher? He said, kosher means the animal wasn't harmed when it was killed. And the way pastrami is made, and I said, I don't want to hear how pastrami is made. I want to eat it. I don't want to know how it's made. So we had sandwiches and soups and fries and sodas and pickles and coleslaw. It was delicious. Everybody had a great time. And I could hear my friend say to her friend, this is the Jewiest sandwich I ever ate. It's so delicious. It didn't sound right to me. And then she said, this is such a Jewy sandwich. And I said to her, you can't say something's Jewy. That doesn't sound right. She said, well, what's wrong with saying something's Chewy? I said, Chewy. Chewy's okay. I guess it's your Canadian accent. So they were really happy, and I was happy to pay for them and everything. So, you know, we walked out. And then they wanted to see a Jewish house of worship. So I took them to Seinfeld's Diner. And we went 40 blocks through the Upper West Side to give them that Jewish feeling of 40 years and everything. And we get to the diner, and you know, the waiter puts the menu down, and she says, this menu is bigger than the Bible. And he said, here it would be the Odyssey. This is a Greek diner. So they ordered milkshakes, and I ordered a malted. And they loved their milkshakes, but I wasn't happy with my malted. I think my malted had molded. And the waiter said, you know, Seinfeld sat in your booth. And my friend said, oh, Jerry Seinfeld sat here? He said, no, Herman Seinfeld, the big tipper. And she went, oh. Anyway, so, you know, they asked for, she said, the waiter comes and says, do you want anything else? No. And my friend says, separate checks. And I was mad. I mean, I paid for them at Ben's. They couldn't pay $6.50 for a little malted. But what am I going to do? You know, sue them and run in a food court. And anyway, this was Seinfeld's Diner. I didn't want to make something out of nothing. So, you know, we left and everything. And on the way out, I could hear the waiter say to somebody else at a different booth, you know, Seinfeld sat there. And the person said, Herman Seinfeld? And he said, no, Jerry. And she went, oh. So I don't know how much they learned about Judaism, but I learned that Canadians are cheap. You know, people tell me I'm wishy-washy. Do I have time, by the way?
Yeah. Yes.
People tell me I'm wishy-washy. You know, I went to a diner the other day. The menu was bigger than the Bible. I said to the waiter, what do you recommend? He said, page 28. I said, is that Old Testament or New Testament? He said, yeah, there's another Greek diner, it would be the Iliad. So I said, what's popular? And he said, my cousin. I said, what's popular on the menu? He said, for you, bagel and lox. And I said to him, how did you know I was circumcised? He said, my cousin. So, and anyway, why do I ask what's popular? Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's good. I mean, look at the Real Housewives of anywhere. So I said, okay, I'll have a bagel and lox. He said, toasted or untoasted? I said, okay. He said, it comes with either salad or fries. I said, I'll have fries. He said, cottage fries, waffle fries, sweet potato fries, home fries, crinkly fries, barbecue, steak fries, cheese fries, poutine. I think he spit in my face, that anti-Semite. So I said, forget it, let me just have a salad. He said, of course. Cobb salad, Waldorf salad, French salad, Caesar salad, chef salad, Mediterranean. I said, just give me the house salad. He said, of course. Italian dressing, French dressing, Russian dressing. No, I don't have Russian anymore. Now it's Ukrainian dressing. I said, just let me have potato chips. He said, ruffled, ribeye, salted, unsalted, veggie. I said, let me have potato salad, because that takes into account potatoes and salad. He said, great choice. German potato salad, American potato salad, creamy, low fat. I said, just let me have coleslaw. There's only one kind of coleslaw. He said, we don't carry that. I said, just give me the bagel and lox, nothing on the side. He said, of course. He comes back an hour later. He says, you know, I never asked you what kind of bagel you wanted. Do you want? I said, don't ask. I just want a plain bagel, cream cheese and lox. He said, very good. Unfortunately, we just ran out of lox. I said, so why do you ask what kind of bagel I wanted? He said, I was curious. I said, I lost my appetite. Just give me a cup of coffee. No, don't, because I know what you're going to say. Do you want regular? Do you want decaf? Do you want cappuccino, frappuccino, mochaccino? Do you want whole sugar, raw sugar, granulated sugar, confectionery sugar, equal, sequel, trivia, sweet and low, sweeter and lower, regular milk, 1%, 2%, almond milk for 90 cents more, goat milk, breast milk. Forget it. I want a cup of coffee. He said, that's ridiculous. I never would have said that. I said, just give me a glass of water. He said, sparkling water, tap water, rain, tears. I said, just give me a check for the things I didn't have. He said, cash or charge. So I just walked out. And I go home and my wife says, did you eat anything? I said, no, what's in the fridge? She said, nothing. I said, thank God. She said, let's go to the diner. I said, should we walk? Should we Uber? Should we go? Should we rollerblade, roller skate, hot air balloon? She said, shut up, let's just go to bed. And I'm wondering, will we snuggle? Will we cuddle? Will we communicate? I'm Zygy Ctr. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm still hungry.
That's the way you celebrate International Smile Day. Very funny, very funny. I would like to turn things over now to our Sukasa artist.